Hi, young kinders, and first graders. I am Miss Evink, the art teacher at Woodside. I am going to be your art teacher this week and next week, and I will be teaching you two different kinds of printmaking. We are going to do relief prints next week, where we are going to carve into a piece of foam and then use markers on top to make lots of prints. You can use the same printing block for several of the same exact prints. This week we are going to do a monoprint, and a monoprint is when you use your printing block, but it only makes one print. So you have to redraw it every single time. I can use this piece of aluminum foil and cardboard to make lots of different prints, but there's only one of each one. That's why it's mono. One print. So before we get into techniques and what we're going to do this week, I want to make you aware that next week we are going to use foam, and I know that printing foam is not something you usually have at home, but sometime in the next week you might get some meat that your mom makes dinner with and have her use or save this and wash it so you can use it next week for printing, or a foam plate or bowl works as well. And also some of our takeout food that you may be getting has foam takeout containers, and also egg cartons are made out of foam. So if you use up all your eggs this week and they are in foam, save those because you need to use it for your relief print next week. And this week we are going to use aluminum foil. We're going to use cardboard. This cardboard is from a box of shoes that my daughter got from Girls on the Run right before school was closed down for sickness, but you can use cereal boxes, you can use other food boxes, you can use Amazon boxes, whatever type of cardboard you have will work for this perfectly. You also are going to need some paint today. I know some of you don't have paint. You can use markers to do this. And to draw on your piece of aluminum foil. And I'm going to show you how to do this next week with our foam printing. But you can color on your aluminum if you only have markers, and then print on a wetter piece of paper, not dripping, but just kind of shiny, damp piece of paper. I'll show you how to do that next week. But you can still do the aluminum foil today if you don't have paint. So I am going to turn off my lovely face and show you my hands to show you what we are doing. I'm going to use tempera paint today because it is washable. If you don't have tempera paint, you might have some of these guys at home. And these are acrylic, which means they don't come out of your clothes, so make sure your parents know what you're doing and don't get so filthy that it won't come off. These a lot of times have acrylic paint in them too. These will work on the projects. Basically, whatever you have at home, we want you to make art today, and every day really. So if you don't have the materials that I have, then just color a book. Make a drawing. Go to the Instagram account and see if there's a challenge there using materials you might have if you don't have what we have today. So I'm going to go through the steps. All right, kiddos, so I have a piece of cardboard that I cut into a rectangle. It's about the size of my hand, maybe a little smaller. It was the side of the shoebox, so that's what size I made it. So you are going to get a piece of aluminum foil that is a little bit bigger than your cardboard. You are going to just wrap it up like a present and That's all you need to do for your printing plate. Pretty easy. So that's what it looks like. Okay, so we are going to make a print today, a mono print, which means one print. We are going to use tempera paint, like I said before. I tried the yellow. The yellow was too light and you could not see my print very well. This one I did, there's my yellow, you can't see it very good. This one I did with red. It looks a lot better. I used the lines that we learned in kindergarten and young kinders. There's my loop-de-loo, my dotted line, my zigzag, bumpy, dashed, and straight lines on that one. So if you don't have any ideas what to do, you can use our lines, use our shapes. We know that lines turn into shapes and shapes turn into pictures. So this is the one that I did earlier that I showed you my examples of. And this one I did some flowers on it. So I'm going to squirt a little bit of blue on there this time. And I am going to use my where'd my paintbrush go? It was here. There it is. Found it. We're gonna use, I use this foam brush. If you don't have a foam brush, it's not a big deal. If you have regular brushes, those work perfectly. You don't want too much paint because then it does not print well. You don't want to go too slow because the paint dries. I think I got too much, so I'm gonna wipe that off on my paper towel right there. I'm using a cookie tray on top of my counter with some paper towel in it. You don't have to, but I have to clean up after myself and I don't want to clean any more than I have to. So I can just throw away these paper towels and I don't have to wash my counter as much. So you are going to draw whatever you want to. When we draw something like this, we start from the background, or we start from the foreground and work our way back. So I'm using a Q-tip, drawing this beautiful tree with my bumpy lines. Okay, I'm gonna use my horizon line. Maybe put a beautiful little corner sun in here. I can do flowers if I want. Down here. Okay, and then maybe some grass in front of my tree. Okay, so there's my drawing, pretty quick and easy. Then I am going to take my piece of paper and I am going to put this, I'm going to put this on the side because if it works nicely, I can then fold my paper in half and make a card and send my grandma a card or send my mom a card. Mother's Day is coming up. You might want to make your mom a card. Tell her how much you love her. Hint, hint to my daughters. Okay, so I am pushing all over. I'm trying really hard not to slide my aluminum foil piece, my cardboard, all around my printing block because that will that'll mess up my print. So then I'm going to get a piece of paper towel and wash my hands off to try and keep it my paper clean. So when I pull this off, there's my tree. So I might have used a little bit too much ink that time, so then I'm just gonna keep going over and over and over again. If I want another one, I can do another one. It can't be exactly the same because a mono print only has one. So maybe this time I put a little less paint on it. That blue from before mixes with red because we know red and blue make purple. So this time I put that on there. I'm going to use a Q-tip. Actually, this time I'm going to use my finger because I'm going to show you you don't have to have a Q-tip. So I did, and just wipe my little finger off there. Maybe put some polka dots in the middle here. And then on this side, I do another one because I like to do groups of 3. Maybe another one over here because again, I like groups of 3. And so I'm just kind of wiping away that ink or that paint so that way when I print, that spot is all done. So this is one I did earlier. It had too much ink on it, too much paint on it, so it has, you can't see the shapes that I did. So that's what happens when there's too much. This is what happens when it dries too quickly. So I'm going to take my purple print and I am going to put this down. And I am going to push all around, try not to get it to wiggle. We don't want it slippery or slidey. And then when I pick it up, my purple print is on there. Beautiful. So I want you guys to have fun with this. You can draw whatever you want. Remember, you are going to get the flip side of this. So if I do it again, this time I'm going to show you what happens if I write on it. You will see the mirror image, which means it will be what you see in the mirror. So if you write your name on it, so I'll write E-V-I-N-K, that's my name, Evink. And then I'll do it on here. You will see that my name will come out backwards, which is kind of fun, but it's really hard to read backwards. You can draw whatever you want to on these monoprints. If you don't have ideas of what to draw, you can do shapes, because we learned about shapes in kindergarten. You can do lines, because we learned about lines. In first grade, we learned about monsters. So monsters are something you could draw on there, but it needs to be pretty quick. So you saw that on my aluminum foil, I wrote my name, but it's now backwards. So you want to be careful when you're thinking about just the different things you want to do. Words and numbers aren't always the greatest. You want to go with more generic things that do not go backwards. So I hope you're having fun. Enjoy this messy project and comment on the Instagram pictures or on the Instagram with your pictures of your prints. I am looking forward to seeing what you can make. See ya.